Yamo Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Jaya 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 Prabhupada Jaya Jaya So we'll start with Mangalacharana prayers. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 O my Lord, the all-pervading personality of Godhead, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayam udiraye. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances to the personality of Godhead, Narayan, and to Narayan Rishi, the supermost human being, and to Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and to Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Nashta prayeshu abhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati uttama shloke bhakti bhavati naishtiki. By regular attendance in the classes on Bhagavatam and by rendering of service to the pure devotees, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed, and loving service unto the personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental songs, established as an irrevocable fact. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. The Master, with the power of knowledge, I offer my respectful obeisances unto him. So thank you so much for joining for the Bhagavatam class today. I'm honored and I am very grateful for this opportunity. I seek blessings from all of you present here so that I can speak something that is of value. So we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 7. We actually completed the whole canto. So now what we are doing is we are going over it again, like a summary. So we have completed until chapter 6. Yesterday, Jagadatma Prabhu very beautifully described chapter 4, 5 and 6, which consist of how Hiranyakashipu was aggrieved because of his brother's death, and also the background of how Jay and Vijay were cursed to become Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu. So now we'll be moving forward with chapter 7. If you can pull up, Prabhu. So chapter 7 is entitled What Prahlad Learned in the Womb. So we'll start with reading the summary. Yes. Who wants to read the summary? Okay, Mataji.
In this chapter, to dissipate the doubts of his class friends, the sons of the demons, Prahlad Maharaja states how, within the womb of his mother, he had heard from the mouth of Narad Muni, who had instructed him in Bhagavatam Dharma. When Hiranyakashipu left his kingdom and went to the mountain known as Madharchala to execute severe austerities, all the demons scattered. Hiranyakashipu's wife, Kayadu, was pregnant at the time, and the demigods, mistakenly thinking that she carried another demon in her womb, arrested her. Their plan was that as soon as the child took birth, they would kill him. While they were taking Kayadu to the heavenly planets, they met Narad Muni, who stopped them from taking her away and took her to his ashrama until Hiranyakashipu's return. In Narad Muni's ashrama, Kayadu prayed for the protection of the baby in her womb, and Narad Muni reassured her and gave her instructions on spiritual knowledge. Taking advantage of those instructions, Prahlad Maharaja, although a small baby within the womb, listened very carefully. Does anybody else want to continue?
The spirit soul is always apart from the material body. There is no change in the spiritual form of the living entity. Any person above the bodily conception of life is pure and can receive transcendental knowledge. This transcendental knowledge is devotional service, and Prahlad Maharaj, while living in the womb of his mother, received instructions in devotional service from Narad Muni. Any person engaged in the service of the Lord through the instructions of a bona fide spiritual master is immediately liberated and being free from the clutches of Maya. He is relieved of all ignorance and material desires. The duty of everyone is to take shelter of the Supreme Lord and thus become free from all material desires. Regardless of the material condition in which one is situated, one can achieve this perfection. Devotional service is not dependent on the material activities of austerity, penance, mystic yoga, or piety. Even without such assets, one can achieve devotional service through the mercy of a pure devotee.
Jai. So now what we can do is we can start with reading the text, and then we will stop in between to discuss the points that we can discuss from the text. We can start with here.
Next one. Narad Muni said, although Prahlad Maharaj was born in a family of Asuras, he was the greatest of all devotees. Having thus been questioned by his class friend, the son of the Asuras, he remembered the words spoken to him by me and replied to his friends as follows.
Prahlad Maharaj said, when our father Hiranyakashipu went to Mandrachala mountain to execute severe austerities, in his absence the demigods, headed by King Indra, made a severe attempt to subdue all the demons in warfare.
Alas, as a serpent is eaten by small ants, so the troublesome Hiranyakashipu, who always inflicted miseries upon all types of human people, has now been defeated by the reactions of his own sinful activities. Saying this, the demigods, headed by King Indra, arranged to fight the demons.
So we can see that Narad Muni's, the first text is Narad Muni, and Narad Muni speaking that Prahlad Maharaj, he, although being born in a demon family, he is the greatest of devotees, and having questioned by his classmate, he remembered me. So here what we can see that we should always remember our spiritual master before preaching or before instructing anyone, because the knowledge is coming from there. It's not that something that we manufactured by ourselves. So before preaching or before doing any kind of spiritual activity, we should always remember our spiritual master. And also it is stated that he remembered his words and spoken to him by me and replied to his friend as follows. So Prahlad Maharaj, he repeated the words of Narad Muni as it is. We also have Bhagavad Gita as it is. So we should always remember that whatever we learn from our Diksha Guru, Shiksha Guru, spiritual masters, We should always repeat that as it is. We should not add anything from our side. We can always speak from our realizations, but we should not try to change or add anything to the spiritual knowledge that we have received. And the next verse, it talks about how Hiranyakashipu, he went to Mandarachal mountain to execute severe austerities. And in the absence of Hiranyakashipu, King Indra, he attacked the demons. And then he is also stating that, alas, as a serpent is eaten by small ants, so Hiranyakashipu, who has always inflicted miseries upon all types of being, has been defeated by the reactions of his own sinful activities. So it's like King Indra is taking the opportunity of his absence and attacking the demons. So we can move forward.
When the great leaders of the demons, who were being killed one after another, saw the unprecedented exertion of the demigods in fighting, they began to flee, scattering themselves in all directions. Simply to protect their lives, they hastily fled from their homes, wives, children, animals, and household paraphernalia. Paying no heed to all these, the demons simply fled.
The victorious demigod plundered the palace of Hiranyakashipu, the king of the demons, and destroyed everything within it. Then Indra, king of heaven, arrested my mother, the queen.
As she was being led away, crying in fear, like a Purari captured by a wanderer, the great sage Narada, who at that time had no engagement, appeared on the scene and saw her in that condition.
Narada said, O Indra, the king of demigods, this woman is certainly sinless. You should not drag her off in this merciless way. O greatly fortunate one, this chaste woman is the wife of another. You must immediately release her.
King Indra said, in the womb of his mother, the wife of the demon Hiranyakashipu is the seed of that great demon. Therefore, let her remain in our custody until her child is delivered, and then we shall release her.
Narad Muni replied, the child within this woman's womb is faultless and sinless. Indeed, he is a great devotee, a powerful servant of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, he will not be able to kill him.
Okay, we'll stop there. So here we can see that King Indra, he was actually trying to capture Kayadu and kill the baby who was there inside the womb, that is Prahlad Maharaj. And we can see that Indra is acting upon his fears. Like there are two ways we can see, like before acting, we can see if we are acting upon our fears or acting based on any opportunity that is there. So yesterday also Jagadatmar Prabhu, he was discussing this point, that we should always see that before acting, if we are acting based on what could go wrong, or we are seeing the opportunity of what could go right. So we should always see that what could go right, because most of the times we are acting upon based on our fears only, that maybe this could go wrong, so I should not do this, maybe something here could go wrong. So our mind is like, I don't know, based on what we always have this fear that something could go wrong, and based on that we are acting always. So Indra is doing the same thing, like he doesn't know that what kind of baby is there, what kind of consciousness that baby is carrying, and how will it grow up, but still he is just acting upon his fears that because he is the son of Hiranyakashipu, he will be a demon and he will create great troublesome. So based on that, he's trying to kill Prahlad Maharaj. But Narad Muni comes to the scene and he intervenes and he says that although you are trying to kill this baby, you would not be able to kill this baby. Why? Because he is a great devotee of the Lord. So it is in the purport, Srila Prabhupada talks about how that in Bhagavad Gita 9.31, Krishna says that Kaunteya pratijana hi name bhakta pranashyati. So my devotee never perisheth. So if he is a devotee, like you cannot, if you, even if Narad Muni says, even if he was not there, still you won't be able to kill this devotee. So, and how does Narad Muni knows that he's a devotee? Because he's a Trikaldarshi, right? He knows past, present and future. So that's why he knows that this baby who is there in the womb of Kayadu will be a great devotee. So we can also, if you have any questions in between, you can raise hands and we can open up the discussion. Yes, Prabhu, please.
Hiranyakashipu was son of Hiranyakashipu, right?
Yes.
So his father was a great sage. Mother Diti, it's just like when he was born, the mother's consciousness was not pure. It's just mother's consciousness was not pure, he was a demon. But his root was his father was a sage. Now, when it comes to Prahlad Maharaj, his mother's consciousness could be good, but his father is really a demon. And the seed-giving father is a demon. Then definitely the son should be turning out a demon. Why is he turning out to be a devotee?
Okay, so this is what I have heard, and this is what I will repeat, is that when they were trying to have this baby, right? They were doing the Garbhodan Sanskar. Then Hiranyakashipu, before that, his brother Hiranyaksha was killed. And Hiranyakashipu was always thinking of Vishnu. While doing everything, he was thinking of Vishnu. That not in a very good way, in an envious way, but still his consciousness was, always thinking of Vishnu. I want to kill him, I want to do this, that to him. So while having that interaction with Kayadu also, he was thinking of Vishnu. And that is why, because of that consciousness, Prahlad Maharaj, he happened to be a devotee. So that is why he is a seed-giving father, and from him only whatever devotion that Prahlad Maharaj has not. And also it's because of hearing from Narad Muni, obviously, but before that also something happened like this. So that is also a reason why he was born as a devotee. Hope that answers your question, Prabhu. Okay, we'll move forward. Who was reading last? Prabhu, yes.
When the great saint Narad Muni had thus spoken, King Indra, being respectful to Narada's words, immediately released my mother because of my being a devotee of the Lord. All the demigods circumambulated her and then returned to their celestial kingdom.
Prahlad Maharaj continued. The great saint Narad Muni brought my mother to the ashram and assured her of all protection, saying, "My dear child, please remain at my ashram until the arrival of your husband."
After accepting the instructions of Devarshi Narad, my mother stayed in his care without fear from any disaster, as long as my father, the king of the Daityas, had not become free from his severe stillness.
My mother, being pregnant, desired the safety of Rambio and desired to give birth after her husband's arrival. Thus she stayed at Narad ashram, where she rendered service under Narad with great devotion.
Narad Muni delivered his instructions both to me, who was within the womb, and to my mother, who was engaged in rendering him service. Because he is naturally extremely kind to the fallen souls, being in a transcendental position, he gave instructions on religion and transcendental knowledge. These instructions were free from all material concerns.
Okay, we'll stop there. So text 11, we can see that when Narad Muni came and he stopped King Indra, he immediately accepted Narad Muni's words. So we can learn this from Indra, that even though he was making a mistake, still when a great personality like Narad Muni, he's an acharya, he came and he corrected him, he accepted that. So we also have to learn this, that even though we are doing something wrong, we can do mistakes, right? We all are human beings, and we have that 4 defects of human being, like material body. So we are bound to do mistakes, but we have to know that when a great personality or any pure devotee, in short, devotees come and correct us, we should accept their authority and accept our mistake. So we can see that King Indra immediately accepted the words of Narad Muni, and he released Kayadu, and also not only released Kayadu, but he also circumambulated Kayadu. And Indra had faith in Narad Muni's word, because at first he was convinced that this is a demon in the womb, right? And after Narad Muni saying that he is a great devotee, he accepted that he is a great devotee. King Indra didn't had any doubt, because if he didn't accept it, he wouldn't have circumambulated. He would have just released out of respect, released Kayadu and left. But he actually had faith in Narad Muni's words, and he accepted that, oh, this is a great devotee, and that's why he also circumambulated, and then he paid obeisance and then left. So we should always accept the words of acharyas, like the knowledge given by them. Scriptures that we are reading, Srimad Bhagavatam, is also given by great Acharya Vyasadev, who was instructed by Narad Muni. So we have to accept these words and have faith in them. So when we'll have faith, then the knowledge will be revealed. The example that I want to give is of school. When we go to school, we don't start questioning from day one that why is A for apple, why is B for ball only. We first have faith in the teacher's authority, and then after reaching a certain level, we start having questions, and then we start asking questions, and then the teachers who are there, they actually clear our doubts. So the point is that first we have to have some faith in scriptures. We have to have faith, and then after reaching a certain level, we'll start having. It's not that I'm not telling you to just accept everything blindly, but you should have some faith. You should put some faith, and then you'll have questions. You can always ask questions and clear your doubts. So any doubts? We'll move forward. Okay. I also wanted to discuss one more point. In text 15, it is said that who was engaged in serving Narad Muni. My mother was engaged in serving Narad Muni, and then he is naturally extremely kind to the fallen souls, and being in transcendental position, he gave instructions on religion and transcendental knowledge. So here this statement is very important, that he is naturally extremely kind to the fallen souls. So we can see that the acharyas are very kind towards the fallen souls. Any other examples where the devotees were very kind to the fallen souls? Yes, Prabhu. Yes.
They say that for a reason, because
Yes.
he's kind to the fallen soul of the West.
That's true. Yes, Prabhupada was kind.
Even though he was beaten by Jagamada, he wanted to liberate them.
Yes, we have innumerable examples. Any other example that you can think of? Yes, Prabhu. Haridas Thakur. That was coming in my mind actually. Yes, he was very kind. Like, even though the soldiers, they were beating him up, still he was thinking of their welfare, that, oh, if I don't die, then the king will kill them. And he was extremely merciful and kind towards them. So this is actually a characteristic of a devotee or an acharya, that they are very, very kind towards the fallen souls. They don't see any qualification before giving the knowledge. They are showering their mercy. Srila Prabhupada, we see that when he came to the West, like, there was basically no qualification. They were extremely fallen. We cannot really imagine the level of their, on what level they were. But still, Srila Prabhupada, being extremely merciful and kind, he kind of, liberated them. He gave them Krishna, and rest is history. Whatever we see manifested is because of him being kind. So, and he gave instructions on religion and transcendental knowledge. So my question is, what kind of religion is being referred here? Varnashram Dharma, is that a religion? Okay. Yes, Prabhu.
Bhagavatam, the true purpose of life.
Yes. So here, the religion is not Swadharma or any other religion. Here, Prahlad Maharaj is referring to Bhagavad Dharma. And in the purport, Srila Prabhupada is talking about, in the verse it is said that Nirmalam. So the word Nirmalam refers to spotless Dharma. And spotless Dharma is only one, that is Bhagavad Dharma. And what Bhagavad Dharma means, Prabhupada in a simple words he explains that, knowing about yourself, who are you, knowing about who God is, and knowing the relationship between the two. And that is Bhagavad Dharma, very simple. And Prabhupada is talking about that Bhagavad Dharma also means Bhakti Yoga. So now Narad Muni is giving instructions to Kayadu on Bhakti Yoga, and because of that, Prahlad Maharaj, who was in the womb, was listening very carefully, and we'll see how he was listening carefully and why he became like Prahlad Maharaj. So yeah, we'll move forward. Yes, Prabhu.
Because of long duration of time that has passed, and because of her being a woman and therefore less intelligent, my mother has performed all those instructions. But the great sage Narad blessed me, and therefore I could not forget them. Prahlad Maharaj continued, my dear friends, if you can place your faith in my words, simply by that faith you can also understand transcendental knowledge, just like me. Although you are small children, similarly, women can also understand transcendental knowledge, know what is spirit and what is matter.
Study the fruits and flowers of the tree and new course of life, devotees changes, birth, existence, growth, transformation, dwindling, and then death. The material body, which is obtained by the spirit soul under different circumstances, undergoes similar changes. However, there are no such changes for the spirit soul.
Okay, we'll stop there. So, in text 17, Prahlad Maharaj says that if you place your faith in my words, simply by that faith you can understand transcendental knowledge, just like me, although you are small children. So, one thing that we can understand from here is that there's, the obstacles are just on bodily platforms. The soul is pure, and because of soul being pure and different from the body, everyone and anyone is eligible to acquire this transcendental knowledge. There is no designation in purport. Srila Prabhupada says that it is one must take shelter of the Lord, and regardless of anything, we will go back to Godhead. So this is very strong point that Prabhupada is making, that regardless of in any species, like any body you are there, men, women, or anything, you can go back to Godhead. You just need to take shelter of the Supreme Lord, that's all. And Prahlad Maharaj is talking about, although you being children's, so here we are talking about children of 5 to 7 years of age. Prahlad Maharaj was of 5 years, I think. I guess when he was preaching to his friends, he was basically 5 years old. And if we see logically, it's not possible for a 5-year-old to understand this transcendental knowledge. But from this we can see that the soul is, it's not the same as the body. If even though you are in a kid's body, still you can understand this transcendental knowledge because the soul is separate from the body. So that is one thing. So any questions? Yes, Prabhu.
Text 16 has so many strong sentences. Why would be, it's just because on the bodily realm when we see things, that woman is considered less intelligent. Here, is she not being kind of, considered as a spirit? Or generally it just applies on every woman that they forget? Or it's just...
So this is actually a controversial statement, yes. And honestly speaking, I don't feel myself qualified to speak on such topics. And because of that, I purposefully kind of, yes, mother.
This is something I've heard from my guru, so these are not my words, but and she used to be in ISKCON Toronto, she's moved now to Charlotte, but it's her viewpoint, what she's heard from her acharyas is that from a bodily, physical stamina standpoint, a woman, if you see at that time at least, it was considered weak in composition in terms of physical stature. So acharyas have said, according to her, that that is all that it is. It's not really, if you read too deep into it using the modern context of feminism, they're talking about they're less intelligent, they don't have the brains, or they're weaker, or are all women like that. It's not to be looked at it in this context. It's at the time when it was written. Like you would not hear of like women bodybuilders at that time. So it's basically the physical composition of it.
I never heard intelligence comes from physical strength.
Depends on the context, right? Because intelligence may not, I can speculate every single text and go on and on about what I think it is in my viewpoint, in my context, but it wasn't written for my context, it was written at the time.
Maybe we can read the purport.
Yes, sure, we can read the purport. So in the purport, Srila Prabhupada says, O son of Pritha, those who take shelter in me, though they be low-born, women, Vaishya or Shudras, can approach the supreme destination. The word Papayoni refers to those who are less intelligent than Shudra. But even though a woman may not be Papayoni because of being less intelligent, she sometimes forgets devotional instructions. For those who are strong enough, however, there is no question of forgetting. Women are generally attached to material enjoyment, and because of this tendency, they sometimes forget devotional instructions. But if a woman practices devotional service strictly according to the rules and regulation, the statement by the Lord Himself that she can return to Godhead, Tepi Yanti Paramgatim. It is not at all astonishing. One must take shelter of the Lord and rigidly follow the rules and regulations. Then, regardless of what one is, one will return home back to Godhead. Prahlad Maharaj's mother was more concerned with protecting the child in the womb and was very anxious to see her husband return. Therefore, she could not consider very seriously the sublime instructions of Narad Muni. So, we can discuss more on this topic, but I myself I don't feel like I have enough knowledge to answer your question.
No, Prabhupada explained it, and the way Prabhupada mentioned that they are more attached to material stuff and materialistic things and family relations, and maybe that's one of the reasons. Her consciousness was completely on her husband and on her child.
Yes.
Actually, the very last paragraph also makes it evident that she had a child in her womb and she was waiting for her husband. So physically, she was not really at the stage of focusing on transcendental instructions versus taking care of the child in her womb and waiting for the husband, right? So either you can pick out one thing and say this, or you can look at it in the entire context.
Yeah. So maybe we can move forward. If you still have doubts, questions, we can discuss that after the class, maybe. So we were reading text 17.
19.
No, 17 is done. 19, right?
Atma refers to Supreme Lord or the living entity.
Both of them are spiritual, free from birth and death, free from deterioration and free from material contamination. There are individuals, there are knowers of the external body, and there are foundations or shelters of everything. They are free from material change. They are self-illuminated. They are the cause of all causes, and they are all prevailing. They have nothing to do with the material body, and therefore they are always uncovered. With these transcendental qualities, one who is actually learned must give up the illusory conception of life in which one thinks, I am the material body and everything in relationship with this body is mine.
An expert geologist can understand where there is gold and by various processes can extract it from the gold ore. Similarly, a spiritual advanced person can understand how the spiritual particle exists within the body and thus by cultivating spiritual knowledge, he can attain perfection in spiritual life. However, as one who is not expert cannot understand where there is gold, a foolish person who has not cultivated spiritual knowledge cannot understand how the spirit exists within the body.
Yeah, one more.
The Lord's 8 separated material energies, the 3 modes of material nature, and the 16 transformations, the 11 senses, and the 5 gross material elements like earth and water. Within all these, the one spiritual soul exists as the observer. Therefore, all the great acharyas have concluded that the individual soul is conditioned by these material elements.
There are 2 kinds of bodies for every individual soul. A gross body made of 5 gross elements and a subtle body made of 3 subtle elements. With these bodies, however, is the spirit soul. Within these bodies, however, is the spirit soul. One must find the soul by analysis, saying, this is not it, this is not it. Thus one must separate spirit from matter.
Okay. So, in text 1920, it is said that Atma refers to the Supreme Lord and the Self, so the living entities. So it is very clear that we are not this body, we are this soul, and we have to act on the level of that. So why is it that it's very clear, it's very simple thing to understand? Why is it still people, they don't understand this simple concept of Atma or spirit soul?
They are so attached. They don't know their true identity. As long as you're trying to satisfy your senses, you think like this is the only pleasure, this is the only level. Deep inside, you never give yourself that chance to listen to yourself where you feel that emptiness. So people are very scared of sitting with themselves. When they do, they get scared. It haunts them and they need a distraction.
Okay, so maybe they are fearful of knowing the truth?
Fear in the sense, yes.
Kind of, yes. What else? What else could be the reason? Yes, Prabhu?
It's mentioned in the last line, it's because of illusion. They feel that they are the body, or their body is everything, and everything in relationship with the body is theirs. It's the illusion, it's the ignorance which is causing them to believe that they are the body.
Yes, from the purport I extracted this, that what is ignorance? Ignorance is the unwanted condition of temporary life. The unwanted condition of temporary life. So this is not what we are meant to be. This is a temporary condition of life, and it's not what spirit soul's destination is. And coming back to the question that why do people don't understand, it's given in the very next verse that you need to be an expert geologist to differentiate between the gold and the various other elements. So to understand the difference between the spirit and matter, you need to have the understanding. You need to be an expert in spiritual life. And how can you be an expert? You need to have a guru for that. So Prabhupada mentions in the purport that there's a verse 4.35, tad vidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadakshanti te jnanam gnaninas tattvadarshina. So you have to submissively inquire and serve the spiritual master, and they can impart the truth in you because they have seen the truth. So like to give, like to impart the knowledge onto someone, you need to first know the knowledge yourself, and you need to realize that yourself. So only someone who has done that can actually impart that knowledge into you. So that is why people, they fail to understand the basic difference between spirit and matter, because they don't have someone to guide them, and they are not actually ready to accept someone as a guide, as a mentor, or as a spiritual master. So that's why they are illusioned. So we can go on further, and if anyone has any doubts, any questions, they can raise. Okay, then we'll move forward.
Sober and expert persons should search for the spirit soul with minds purified through analytical study in terms of the soul's connection with the distinction distinction from all things that undergo creation, maintenance, and destruction.
Intelligence can be perceived in three states of activity: wakefulness, dreaming, and deep sleep. The person who perceives these three is to be considered the original master, the ruler, the supreme personality of Godhead.
As one can understand the presence of the air by the aromas it carries, so under the guidance of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one can understand the living soul by these three divisions of intelligence. These three divisions, however, are not the soul. They are constituted of the three modes and are born of activities.
Through polluted intelligence, one is subjected to the modes of nature, and thus one is conditioned by material existence. Like a dreaming state in which one falsely suffers, material existence, which is due to ignorance, must be considered unwanted and temporary.
Yeah, we'll stop there. So it is mentioned that there are three states of activity: wakefulness, dreaming, and deep sleep. So the living entity is constantly changing from one to other. Like wakefulness, in daytime we are wakeful, and then dreaming, at night we are either dreaming or in deep sleep. When we are in deep sleep, we are not dreaming. So that there are the three stages. And then going forward in the verse number 27, it is mentioned that through the polluted intelligence, one is subjected to material modes of material nature and is conditioned by material existence, like in a dreaming state in which one falsely suffers material existence. So in many times we have dreams, and many times we have bad dreams. So when we have bad dreams, we actually are suffering in that dream, right? But that is not the actual thing, right? When we wake up, that whole thing is gone, and we realize that, oh, it was just a dream. So like here a very nice comparison is given. Just like that dreaming state, this material existence is also unwanted and temporary, and it's a kind of an illusion. So if you see that we are, like when you see you are suffering, right? Here in the material existence we are all suffering in a way, but when you realize that, oh, you are a spirit soul, you are not this body, then you get to know that, oh, this is just an illusion. You are not actually suffering. The spirit soul is not subjected to the suffering. So we are not actually suffering. And this is it's very nicely explained by this example of dreaming state. So yes, we can move forward. If anyone has any question, yes, Prabhu.
So, if suppose I die and let's say I go to spiritual world, So it's like I woke up from a dream.
Hmm.
So will I remember what I did in my dream?
Do you want to remember?
Like just in case.
If you are in spiritual world, you would have better things to do, I guess, than remembering your like the material life that you had.
What if I need to remember Prabhupada and the missionary?
You'll be there.
So, yeah, I think I'm not sure. But if anyone has a better answer, maybe we can ask Maharaj. Maharaj's question is that if you go to spiritual world, it's like you are waking up from a dream.
Yes.
So, will you remember the material life or?
Oh, I see what you mean. Yes.
Yes.
Prabhupada did talk about that. When you get liberated, it's like you went to sleep and then you woke up into the reality. Do you remember the? No, not likely. No. It's something you don't want to remember. So when you're in a happy state, like a liberated state, you're so immersed, nothing else can come in. Right? Nothing else dare come in, you know. It just can't find its way in. So, does that answer the question?
So you won't remember, Prabhu.
Let's say, when you get liberated after having spent some, like jail time here and the world, now you're experienced. You just, you're mature now. You don't have any, hankering or there's no yearning to come back here.
Yes.
You don't even want to think about it.
Yes. There's no doubt that there is something more, something that can give you more pleasure or happiness than this. So, yeah, you have experienced that.
Oh my God, my question was that I don't want to remember the material things, but about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Nityananda Prabhu and Prabhupada and you know what I mean?
Obviously, you'll remember all that. Actually, the spirit soul is Satchid Anand, so you'll have full knowledge in that stage. So you'll have everything. So, yes, any other questions? Yes, Prabhu.
Go ahead.
When you wake up from a dream, when you see the reality, this is like whatever I was kind of going through, whatever my body was reacting to, that was a dream. Means you remember the dream as well for a while. But with time we forget the dream. So when we wake up in the spiritual world, how would we get to know that I was into a dream and now it's like I got my consciousness?
You don't need to know. Just like, when you've had dreams and it's a nightmare, whatever it is, it's just something you don't really recall. The details get very blurry.
Yes, that's true.
It just kind of vanishes in time. Time is, Krishna says, I'm time. Time is the subduer of all, let's say, difficulties, So it just fades away. Who wants to remember?
Sometimes, for a while, it's like you said,
Maybe your dreams are different.
Blurry image remains there.
Yes. Okay, Prabhu, yes.
The dreams have much to do with the subtle body, right? And the subtle body is something you shed.
Yes, that's true.
Like a snake. If a snake just sort of slithers away and he moves out of the old one, he doesn't really come back to the old one. That's the past. You don't want to live in the past. Living the past, thinking of the past. It's tamagun. It's mode of ignorance. Now when you're liberated, there's no taint or tint of that.
Yes, that's true. The material existence consists of 8 elements, that is 5 karmendriyas and 3 jnanendriyas, that's 3, intelligence, false ego and mind. So you also leave this 3 back, so you won't remember that.
Kiss it goodbye.
So, yes.
It's been nice knowing you.
Or it wasn't so nice.
You try to be nice about everything.
Okay, yes, Prabhu, you also, I guess you had a question.
We are at time, Prabhu. Is it okay if I ask?
We can take one last question and then end
You'll
it.
turn into a pumpkin.
This is not a question, more of a realization. It's
Yes.
interesting how Prahlad Maharaj gave us the 9 limbs of devotional service.
Hmm.
And he also started with Shravanam in the first position.
Oh, yes.
And he heard in the womb
Hmm.
instructions of Narad Muni.
Yeah,
And
that's
he saw
very
how
true.
all the other manifested.
And he's also an emblem of Shravanam, as you said. Yeah. So yeah. So it all starts with Shravanam and then we progress. So with that, I would like to, or anyone has any questions, anything, you can just go around once. Yes, Maharaj.
You know, the material existence, you know, is it really relevant? Does it really have anything to do with me? Chapter 5, 8 and 9. A person in the divine consciousness always knows within himself that he actually does nothing at all, because while engaged in seeing, hearing, touching, smelling, eating, moving about, sleeping, breathing, speaking, evacuating, receiving, or opening or closing his eyes, he always knows that only the material senses are engaged with their objects and that he is aloof. Haribol.
Haribol.
That's comforting.
So, Prabhu, you can ask your question to Maharaj. Maybe Maharaj can answer that question. Text 17.
It was
Yeah.
just because there was very strong statement.
Yes.
Skipping that was something which I do not want for myself. Because if the doubt remains there, then people always make them as a weapon and target you.
Yes.
There was a verse somewhere, if we can put it.
Yeah, I mean, I can give you this Bhagavatam. We can let everyone else go on Prasadam, and then you can discuss it with Maharaj maybe. Yes. This is the Vancha Kalps. Vancha Kalpa.